You're not responsible for appeasing others. Your emotional health is your responsibility. So
Yes.
that baggage
In
that
order for me to keep this thing going, I need to take stuff off of my plate, or I need to not do too much. Let me do enough.
identifying those distractions are extremely important because it would help you reclaim your time.
Yes.
It
Yes.
will help you
You're going to
understand.
encounter a lot of different people in this world, in this arena of podcasting. You're going to encounter guests who might not necessarily think like you. You're going to encounter people who in the comments who don't think like you. People who could comment on your reels who don't think like you. And it's like, okay, how do you protect yourself from being reeled into something that's going to make you stressed out, that's going to make you feel burned out because you feel like you got to address everything that comes at you? Everything is not for you to address.
Productivity is greater than getting more done. It's about taking care of yourself so that you can perform at your best. Without personal care, productivity crumbles under doubt, stress, and exhaustion. In this episode, we're going to break down how spiritual, mental, emotional, and physical well being fuel the sustainable productivity you need for your life. The example I want to use is a tree, something as simple as a tree. Because a tree is a seed that's placed in the ground. Now, that seed is placed in the ground, and while it's in the ground, it actually starts growing before you see its growth. It starts growing down in the ground before it starts growing out of the ground. Let's say that that ground is us, and the first thing we need to perfect or work towards being productive with is the roots growing down into us. We're going to start there in this episode.
Yes,
See,
indeed.
because there is a secret to greater productivity. The
Ooh.
power, it's in you.
And with that said, that's Marion.
And that's Joe.
And I am a podcast pro. Marion.
Yes.
First and foremost, that was a great intro. That was a fantastic intro. had to give you your props real quick. Of course. Second of all, what's that pro? What's that stand for?
P to the R to the O when it comes to being productive, easy. That P is purposeful. The best ideas and decisions come from a well-rested, healthy mind that are resilient. Prioritizing your energy so that it shows that you know that you can't flow or pour from an empty cup. That outstanding. Outstanding enough to know that you have to schedule your self-care just like you schedule your work. It's that easy.
And what's funny about you saying schedule is that y'all don't know this, but there was a little we had somebody interfering with the sound in the background, and they needed to schedule some maintenance for their car. And just like you need to schedule maintenance for your car and take care of your car, so that it's not making all these little funny sounds, and sounding crazy. You got to schedule that time for yourself so you're not out here sounding crazy, looking disheveled, and all of that. So you set it up from the beginning, Marion. Starting from the spiritual and starting from the mental perspective, because you got to start there first. And I think that's why it's important that this is the first question that rolls off the board. How do you stay focused and motivated when distractions and doubt try to creep in?
The first thing I would say is you need to identify what distracts you.
That's good.
It's amazing how people don't even realize oh, when I get in the house and I get comfortable, whatever that looks like for you, we don't have to run through the myriad ways of how people get comfortable when they get home.
Mhm.
But it's that next step. Do you turn the TV on immediately? Do you turn the radio on immediately? Are you turning on, it just depends on what you go to naturally, what you choose to make a priority in your time when
Mhm.
you know you have other things to do.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that the key word that I'm finding in your question is the distractions.
Yeah. Yeah.
So identifying those distractions are extremely important because it would help you reclaim your time.
Yes.
It
Yes.
will help you understand this is something that I do without even thinking about.
Hmm.
This is a part of my routine. This has become a habit for me.
Yeah.
And that is something that is definitely those habits and routines. You want to be purposeful in setting those things up in a way that it helps you to be more productive in the
Mhm.
things that you do. In this aspect, in this instance, we're talking about being more productive with your podcast.
Yeah.
But you have to deal with the person of you. And I love the fact that you're coming from the perspective of spiritually and mentally,
Hmm.
because that last thing you mentioned was doubt. How to
Yeah.
stop that doubt from creeping in.
Yeah.
It's very important for me spiritually to start my day that way. It helps me to ground myself into something that's feeding me and nourishing me in the direction of being more productive,
Hmm.
in doing something that is purposeful in its purposed time. Spiritually, I get to connect with God. For me, that is God through Christ. For me, that is reading my word. For me, that is praying. For
Hmm.
me, that is taking the time to listen to hear what God is saying to me to do.
Yeah.
To me, that is bringing my all to God. In
Yeah.
bringing my all to God, I'm asking for his direction in that. Martin Luther King was quoted saying, and I don't want to misquote him, but he was saying, faith is taking that first step without being able to see the full staircase.
Hmm. Hmm.
So Marion says faith is imagining that staircase is there and taking each step after step,
Hmm.
because it's a thing of being productive is the consistent part of it. So
Yeah.
it's after you've taken that first step, after you've started, what are you doing to continue to produce content or information that is impactful to someone else?
Hmm.
That so and then in mentally, that's my spiritual side. Mentally, it's the same thing. So I said spiritually, I read the Bible. So mentally, I read, I watch podcasts, documentaries on people's lives or about animals and nature. I find that I can learn things from every facet of life, even in learning about ants. An ant farm, they work, but they
Yes.
work together. Everyone is working in their space, passing it off to the next, understanding that I have to do my best in this area because now I'm passing it off and they're going to need it to be up to par to pass it on to do what they need to do and pass it on to the next. People say, why do you read books? It expands my vocabulary. It
Yep.
expands my understanding. It actually helps me give word to things that I have not, or situations or feelings that I have not been able to articulate.
Hmm.
So it helps me in so many ways. I find it beneficial for me to stay constantly a student, even in my position of teaching. I have been in arenas where I was there to teach, but I learned so much through the questions that were asked.
Yeah. Yeah.
I learned answers that I knew answers to questions that had never been posed to me or that I had never posed. Standing in that authoritative position of teaching, I'm still constantly in the back of my mind, what am I also going to learn from this?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's easy for me because I don't think I know it all. I don't even think that everything that I know is everything that there is to know about any particular subject.
Right.
So I leave the conversation open in my mind, the dialogue about different things open in my mind. And there are things that I am concrete. I am a believer of God through Jesus Christ. That you're not gonna wave me on that.
Right.
You know what you're gonna have to do to wave me on that? So there are those things, but then everything else, it's up for discussion. Hold on, intelligent discussion. It's up for a fruitful discussion. It's up
Yeah.
for an open discussion. It's not up
Mhm.
for argument. I'm not arguing with you. The debate of it, that's cool. But I'm not arguing with you. And I'm not
Right.
going to allow you to speak down to me. I'm not speaking down to anyone else. But we can discuss it to see if I don't have a problem with putting my thoughts and my beliefs and my understanding on the table for them to be discussed to see if I erred in any area, way, shape, or form.
Mhm.
So,
Mhm.
mentally and spiritually for you, how do you keep yourself motivated when doubt creeps in, when those distractions are right there, standing there waiting, like, hey, boo,
Yeah.
how do
Yeah.
you handle that?
Spiritually, it's very similar to how you handle it. I think the thing that I would add to that is understanding the assignment. It's really that simple. Understanding the assignment. Whenever I've been tasked with being a part of something, and it's easy for me to be distracted by whatever else. Um, it's knowing that, like, if I don't put in the work to do what it is that God has assigned me to do with whatever that moment calls for, then it's the quality of what I put out is going to show up somehow. Whether I am a part of it with somebody or I'm the leader on it, like, it doesn't matter. Like, my goal is to make sure that I do my absolute best to be prepared at all times. If that means that I have to do a little bit less of this, then fine. In fact, I'll give you a perfect example. For probably a year leading up to when I got back into radio, one of the things that I loved to do was play Madden. You know what I'm saying? For my gamers out there, y'all know how, you get to playing Madden, especially, if you get into certain aspects of it, you don't really want to do anything else. And so for me, doing that for so long, it got so comfortable to the point where it was like, okay, at that time I was also blogging. If I want to make sure that my blog work is right and tight and I'm giving my absolute best, I'm gonna have to game less. If I want to make sure that the articles that I'm putting out, like, I give my best effort or my best foot forward, I'm going to have to do a lot less of other things that don't add to that. Now, granted, it's a balance. You still use those things to kind of sort of take the stress off sometimes, you know what I'm saying? Because for me, gaming was and has come back to being that. But at the same time, it's like, okay, you have to know that if this is what you have to do in this day, you prioritize. You say, okay, I need to do this in this moment, and that's what matters in this moment. That will come later. That's for that time, but this is for this time, and I'm going to devote my energy to this time. In terms of the doubt aspect, that's also where spirituality comes in, because for me, the spiritual and the mental are tied in together, because it's really the whole thing of, as a man thinketh, so is he. And for me, that's mental and it's spiritual at the same time. Because if you know who you are in God, then it's very easy to stay focused, and it's very easy not to get distracted, and it's very easy not to doubt, because you know that it's not you that's really driving the train. It's not you that's driving the car. It's God giving you the power to be able to do it. It's God helping you with that focus, because God can't make you be focused. God can't make you do anything, but having your focus on him allows you to focus on everything else that he's assigned you to do. Also, it's a confidence thing, whereas you know that your confidence isn't just rooted and grounded in you, it's rooted and grounded in God, because he's the source of everything that you're able to do. So there's really no room for doubt. It's very similar to the whole thing that faith and fear cannot coexist. Neither can doubt and confidence, because they're basically the same sides or different sides of the same coin. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to faith, fear, confidence, doubt, it's the same thing, So when I keep that in mind, it's easier for me to stay locked in. It's easier also for me to avoid being burned out from things, because I go back to something I mentioned this maybe in the last episode or the episode before that, but something Pastor Rick Warren said when it comes to stress. And the whole thing of, you stress because you're separated from God. You worry and you doubt and you fear because you're not connected enough to God.
It just reminds me of the importance for me to pray first thing when I wake up and last thing when I close my eyes. It gives me a peace. In the morning, it sets my tone of my day. It sets the tone of my day, just reminding me whose I am and who I serve. It sets the tone of my day. It makes it easier for me to quote scriptures or remember what God says about me when things arise. So from an emotional standpoint or perspective, how do you maintain momentum when burnout or stress is knocking at your door?
Yeah. It's tough. I will say that, because it's very easy to get burned out and stressed out over things, because especially when you are really trying to build this thing from the ground up, or you've built it to what you want it to be, and it's blossomed into something bigger. And it's a matter of, okay, I have to manage all of these different things in order to keep this going. So really, the biggest thing that I've learned to do is sometimes you have to take a step back without completely stopping it altogether, but protecting your energy when it comes down to it. A lot of times in the past for me, I burned out or I got stressed because I was trying to do too much. And sometimes you have to just say, all right, in order for me to keep this thing going, I need to take stuff off of my plate, or I need to not do too much. Let me do enough. And some people might hear that and might feel like, oh, you mail it in. No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, sometimes you get so enamored with your success, or you get so enamored by all of the things that are coming your way, that you want more and you want more and you want more. And it's okay to want more. Let me be clear about that. You should want more. You should want what you do to get bigger. You should want it to reach more people in the community. You should want to elevate whatever it is that you're trying to do, but not at the expense of your health. Not specifically your spiritual, mental, emotional, and we'll get to it, but physical health. You don't want it to become bigger than you, to the point where it's this monster that you can't even rein in anymore, because you fed that monster too much. Or you don't want to overwork yourself, because then you're operating from an empty cup because you've emptied the cup out too much. Like, no, you haven't poured back into yourself. And so the key thing is knowing when to fall back. And when you fall back, pour into yourself. It could literally be 5-10 minutes. One of the things that I would do sometimes, like when I just needed to kind of reset myself, is that I would go into this field and I would sit in the grass for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and just sit there and reset myself. And when I say that that was one of the most productive things that I could have done for myself, or just beneficial things that I could have done for myself that really helped me to recenter in those moments where I felt like I was burning out or I was stressing out, I took those 10-15 minutes in that field and I just reset. The reset looks different for everybody. You carve out that time for yourself to reset yourself and take a step away from what it is that you're pouring so much of yourself into, so that you create that balance and that it's not all about that podcast. Because when you make it all about that podcast, trust me when I tell you, you will start to resent doing it, and you don't want to get to that point.
Listen, unsolved stress or unaddressed stress or unidentified stress and emotional baggage, that it slows down the progress and it kills your productivity. So you really need to be honest when things happen and pay attention to how certain things make you feel. Set yourself up to succeed.
Yeah.
Because it's your responsibility. It's not anyone else's responsibility to make sure you're good. It's great that you can reach a level of success where then you have a team and you literally do assign them their responsibilities to making sure you're good. But it starts with you figuring out what all of that is, what it looks like for you when something has impacted you and literally shifted how you feel, shifted your desire in that time.
Yeah.
You just identifying, for me, sitting and going through my day with a mindset of I'm going to be mindful as things happen so that I can pay attention when stuff shifts and it's not good for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
So identifying those things, very important to me. Holding a conversation and not realizing when someone would talk about certain topics, that just didn't make me feel good. When I was younger, I did not know how to address that. Now,
Yeah.
I know how to say, hold on, you're going too far. We're not doing that.
Right.
And now you can step away because this conversation is over. Now I know how to shut that down so that I don't end up standing there in the midst of conversation directed at me or around me that I don't feel comfortable with.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, identifying different things allows me to know when I need to shift my whole physical bit. Okay, just remove yourself from this conversation because it's not healthy nor productive. When people start talking politics and the conversation goes left, far beyond my comfort zone, I'm out.
Yeah, absolutely.
I have to know when I'm going to say, okay, I'm out. When someone is talking religion and it's just not a healthy conversation, everything is just trashing all that I believe.
Right.
I don't have to sit there for that. I'm out.
It's as simple as a quote I always quote from Jay-Z. A wise man told me don't argue with fools because people from a distance can't tell who is who.
That part. And hold on. And like Myron Golden says, because you arguing with a fool, guess what? They're going to pull you down to their level and beat you with everything they know. I'm not staying here with you in this or doing this. I'm not going to be a party. I don't even have to be. It's a thing of understanding that your emotions are your responsibility.
Yes.
You're not responsible for appeasing
Right.
others.
Mm-hmm.
You're not responsible for appeasing others. Your emotional health is your responsibility. So
Yes.
that baggage, that emotional baggage is your responsibility to put it up on the table. Let's open this up and unpack
Mm-hmm.
it. You may need to do this through journaling, through
Mm-hmm.
therapy, through
Mm-hmm.
mentorship,
Yes.
through personal reflection, as Joe was just saying, in the field. It may take you finding what works for you so that you can be healthy.
Yes.
Because, as Darius Daniel says, emotional intelligence isn't being overly emotional. It's
Mm-hmm.
about being aware and in control and productive with your emotions. There
Yes.
is a way to be healthily productive with your emotions. Everything that everyone says should not impact you to the point that you could be brought to tears easily.
Right.
That is me talking to me.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah.
That is something I had to realize about myself.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
can't wear, they say the saying, wear your heart on your sleeve. I
Right.
can't walk around like that. I am prey.
Mm-hmm.
It took me you're prey.
Yeah.
Don't do that. Number
Yeah.
one, you're prey and you're victim.
Yeah.
There are two hats that you kind of wear with that. Wearing
Mm-hmm.
your heart on your, don't display yourself totally openly and free. I thought that's how you be authentic, and that's how, no, hold up, pause,
It's a
stop,
balance.
slow down, protect
Mm-hmm.
yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a balance to it. You know, it's a balance to it. That's why, like, I think about when you put on, they talk about in the Bible putting on the full armor of God. Like,
Hmm.
you can't, like, you don't put on a full armor. You don't just walk out in the world and don't put on some armor.
Yeah.
Like, everything that you do when it comes to being in these spaces, especially when it comes to, like, you think about podcasting, like, you're going to encounter a lot of different people in this world, in this arena of podcasting. You're going to encounter guests who might not necessarily think like you. You're going to encounter people who in the comments who don't think like you, people who could comment on your reels who don't think like you. And it's like, okay, how do you protect yourself from being reeled into something that's going to make you stressed out, that's going to make you feel burned out because you feel like you got to address everything that comes at you? Everything is not for you to address. My son Jason, I used to tell him when he was a baby, and I tell him to this day, everything does not require tears. Every situation does not require tears. It's a matter, to back to your point about emotional intelligence, it's a matter of knowing which situation requires tears out of me, that is like I don't have any other response to it but tears, and which situation is like, okay, let me rein my emotions in a little bit more so that I protect myself, so that
Yeah.
I'm not flying off the handle with everything that somebody says, or I'm not offended by something that everybody says,
Yeah.
or what they say doesn't take me to the extreme ends of myself that I'm inconsolable to that point, or I'm irrational with how I fly off the handle or how I respond to something. You
Yeah.
have to, that's why, like, this whole thing of protecting yourself so that you don't feel like you are off the deep end is so important.
Yeah, it is very important. And I want to make sure that I talk to those that have a big heart like me.
Yeah.
It is something that I had to learn. So I don't think that your tears are unwarranted in the sense of your understanding in that moment.
Right.
But I want to warn you that so that you're not vulnerable
Mm-hmm.
to others' tricks and just can't
Manipulation.
stand when people just come in and abuse people
Mm-hmm.
because they're kind, because they're nice, because they're sensitive. I'm just telling you to protect that.
Mm-hmm.
You
Absolutely.
have been created that way. That is how you are. I do believe that my sensitivity is something that it keeps me from being hard, mean, brutal, judgmental, cruel to others. That's something that helps me to have that softer side. But I had to learn that it's my responsibility to protect that, and that it's not to be shared and given to everyone. I'm not
Right.
saying don't have sensitivity or compassion, but then I can't go down the rabbit hole or be caught up into the whirlwind of this situation, that now all the other things that I need to produce and be productive in doing, or have planned to be productive in doing that day, are now just shot.
When you talking about who has access to your emotions, especially in these spaces, it should only be somebody that you trust, is not going to be reckless when, and somebody who's not purposely trying to push your buttons just for the sake of pushing your buttons. But know that if you reveal yourself to them, or if you reveal certain buttons to them, they're not going to misuse those buttons. They're not going to abuse those buttons. Like, they're going to know, like, okay, I'm not really pressing this button to get a rise out of this person. This might actually be a power down situation where it's like, okay, I'm pressing this button because it's like, okay, I see where you're going with this. I see how you're burned out. I see how you're stressed out. Let me press this button to help you calm down. I feel like in these spaces, you need those type of people around you. And I think that's another thing when it comes to the emotional part of it, like, and maintaining that momentum. You need people around you that help you to keep you centered. In my situation, my wife always talks me off the ledge. Whenever I feel like I'm going way too deep with something, or I'm burned out, or I'm stressed, my wife is always the person who talks me off the ledge. And it doesn't have to be a spouse. It could be a best friend. It could be somebody that's in the industry with you that you respect, but have somebody in your life who helps to talk you off the ledge so that you can maintain that momentum, not be stressed out, not be burnt out, and preferably somebody that helps you to see how to take things off of your plate if you're putting too many things on your plate, so that you can manage and balance things out the way that you need to.
I love that you're identifying being out on the ledge, being authentic in this space of sharing that burnout. It happens.
It's real.
It is real, and
It's real.
it's okay. We're here to help you identify it and give you tools and tactics to be able to you conquer the burnout not conquer you.
That's right. Absolutely.
That's what it is. So,
Mm-hmm.
lastly, from a physical standpoint, you know, how do you maintain or manage your energy and balance while staying productive? Because without that
Mm-hmm.
energy and balance, being productive is greatly impacted.
The first thing that I would say, sleep,
Hmm.
sleep, rest. That work going to be there. Whatever you got to do to build your podcast, to make it better, to grow it, to bring more attention to it, that work is going to be there. Rest. It'll get done when it'll get done. And this is from personal experience as somebody who would spend hours and hours and hours, late nights, up to 2, 3 in the morning working on my podcast. And it didn't necessarily, I mean, granted, it did help the podcast in a lot of ways to make it quality, but the quality over time suffered because I wasn't sleeping enough. So sleep and rest.
Can
That's
I
the
add to
first
that?
component. Absolutely. Go ahead.
I want to add to the sleep and the rest. The
Yeah.
sleep and the rest for me, my son literally said, "Ma, I work in blocks of time. I work in blocks of time and schedule my rest." You were talking about gaming. He schedules his gaming. He really is one that schedules his blocks of time. It helps him, he
Yeah.
said, to maximize
Mm-hmm.
the time that he has in the day.
Yes, I agree. I wholeheartedly agree.
This is how rest is applied for me. I have to know when I'm doing something and I need to stop,
Yes.
because this is just actually getting worse and
Mhm.
worse and worse in terms of what I'm producing, in terms of what I'm thinking. Sometimes you just need to stop and say, I need a nap.
Yes.
You ever,
Yes. Yes.
I need
Yes.
to just take a nap and
Hmm.
rejuvenate and
Yeah.
regenerate and come back to this.
If you think about when you're awake and all of these great ideas come to you and things are flowing, that's dopamine hits. That's all that is. Like, you getting these dopamine hits of like, oh, I got this great idea. Let me implement this. Or, oh, this is working. Let me keep moving with that. You just keep getting these hits of energy and you want to keep going and going and going. And it's like, after a while, it's like, all right, yeah, but how productive are you going to be if you are only on 3 or 4 hours of rest? You're not going to be. You know what I'm saying? So that first element is rest, sleep, all of that. That's number one. Number two, proper diet. Proper diet. People don't want to hear this. I think about when I was in radio, and one of the things that we used to do every Thursday, it was this place called Cam's in Geneva, New York. They used to make these chicken cutlets. Oh my gosh. These chicken cutlet sandwiches. They was fried. I would get barbecue sauce, cheddar cheese, pickles, tomatoes, lettuce. Them Jones used to crank, crank. Every Thursday I would get them joints. But that could not be good for my health. And frankly, because my eating habits were just bad in college, period, and I wasn't getting enough rest, it now granted the radio show was still produced quality because that's what I love to do, but everything else around me suffered because I wasn't taking care of my physical health. And so honestly, it led to some other health issues, not just the cams, but like the other ways I was eating when I was in college. But it led to some other issues while I was in college because I was doing too many things. I wasn't resting. I was doing a radio show. I was part of the student union. I was co-editor in chief of the newspaper. I had all these things going, and I had to go to class. So it goes back to taking things off your plate, realizing like you can't do everything. Focus on that one thing, but don't be so focused that one, you don't rest, two, you don't eat right, and three, you don't exercise. Get outside, walk. I don't care what exercise look like for you, whether it's walking, whether it's dancing, whether it's going to the gym, whether it's, I mean, they got, I just seen a thing last night. They got those little things that you can put underneath a desk and just move your feet just so you get the circulation in your legs. You're not just sedentary with what you're doing. Do something physical because that's going to feed the energy. That's going to give you the energy that you need physically to keep doing what you're doing, taking care of the whole person, the whole me. Everything feeds each other. It feeds the spiritual, it feeds the mental, it feeds the emotional. When everything is in proper balance, proper harmony.
I'm go straight to podcasting. As a
Mm-hmm.
host, you do not want to sit down and you're going to start your episode and your stomach is going crazy. Your stomach's going crazy because you hungry, or you have a headache because you hungry,
Yep.
or your stomach is going crazy because what you ate, you shouldn't have ate that for you were about to sit down for a 2 hour just recording.
Right.
Three, you want to make sure in your eating that you're mindful. I have to be mindful of what certain foods give me energy
Mm-hmm.
and which certain foods take energy from me. If you're
Yeah.
draining me, then I'm going to have to save that for later. But other than that, if you know that you're on schedule for
Mm-hmm.
being productive in whatever arena of life you need to be productive in, you want to make sure you're mindful of what you're eating and how it
Yes.
impacts you
Yes, indeed.
physically, mentally, and emotionally. Because the
Yes, indeed.
food can do all of that.
Yes, indeed.
You know when what you're doing is healthy and not healthy for you. Guess
Yep.
what? Sit-ups is not good for somebody who has a sciatic nerve. They have to do it a different way.
Right.
So even doing physical exercise, there are certain things that you can do that other people can't do, that other people should do that you shouldn't do.
Right.
Find what works for you. Open your mind to yoga. Open your mind
Mm-hmm.
to Pilates.
Yep.
Open your mind to bike riding.
Yep.
Open your mind to swimming. Open your
Mm-hmm.
mind to different things so you can find what works best for you. There are certain exercise routines that I do that actually give me energy.
Yep.
There are certain exercise routine that after I hit a certain amount of time, yeah, ain't nothing but bed. That's bed. That's bed. It's over. All the energy gone. She done for
Right.
the day. And that's just what it is.
About to
That's
die.
what it is. You really have to learn to be mindful and be honest with yourself
Yeah.
for what's best for you of getting things done. Because you
Right.
may be able to ride it out for a little while,
Mm-hmm.
but the undertones and the undercurrent of what's going on, it's going to surface.
Yeah. Yeah.
It'll surface eventually. So while
Absolutely.
things may seem like, oh, I can get away with eating these oodles or noodles, I'm not saying that there was not a time and that's all I had. And that's what I was in school. That's all I could afford at that
Mm-hmm.
time.
Yep. I've been there.
But you gotta, when you can, do better.
Yes. So to your second point, in terms of how what you eat affects your body, this also goes in line with your voice. Your voice is your calling card as a podcaster. Like, even if people can't see you on that screen, they hear you, they listen to you. We are told that there are certain things that we should not eat before we go in the studio. Do not drink milk before you know you got to do a podcast. Your voice going to be struggle mode. You are not going to produce the best that you possibly can. So it's
Yeah.
important to know these things before you get on air. Like, it's not just about the energy that it gives to your body, but it's also certain things that you eat and how it's going to strip from your voice being the best. Because there's nothing worse than being on air and you've eaten something or you drank something that basically dries out your throat. Watch what you eat and protect that voice of yours, because that's your money maker.
Yeah, that money maker means that's what makes your value.
Mm-hmm.
That's what brings your impact. So you want to
Exactly.
make sure you're presenting your best self at all times so that the impact can be clearly received.
If you're not already following us on the Instagrams, please make sure that you follow us. We are at I Am a Podcast Pro. Same thing here on YouTube. We are at I Am a Podcast Pro. If you are not already subscribed to our channel, what are you waiting for? Do it. Do it now. While you got the time, just hit that button. Hit the button. While you're at it, don't just subscribe. Get the bell notification. So when we go live, when we post content, no matter what we post, that's going to be beneficial for you, you can just go ahead and be one of the first ones to get it. Make sure that you like, comment, and share this video if you found value in what we had to say. And the thing is, the beautiful thing is, it's not just for podcasting. What we're telling you is not just for that. It's for life.
Yeah.
Like, this is valuable information for life. So if you found value in it, share it with somebody else. Also, we are on Facebook. We have a Facebook group. I Am a Podcast Pro with Marion and Joe. Look it up. Join the group. We post content in there as well. And of course, if you have any questions for us, if you have a podcast, if you're interested in doing a podcast, if you know somebody who has one and they can benefit from this, hey, let them know. We have an email address, iamapodcastpro@gmail.com. Send your questions, send your show suggestions. If there's something that you want us to cover that we haven't covered yet, we gladly take suggestions that are going to really help you and the rest of the community really get better at this podcasting thing. Because there's a lot of people with podcasts. It's a whole lot of them. But
it is a whole lot of them.
yes, but we want to make sure that we help you, if you are watching this, to stand out from the pack, because that's what it's all about.
because that's what it's all about. You are uniquely you. No one else has your message. We're looking forward to hearing it. Please drop your podcast in the comments so we can
Mhm.
check it out.
Absolutely.
You got this. See you next time.